Yurika Yasukawa. This group of students have their Bachelor of International Studies with a major in International Business Studies. Putu Ayu Astari Shandari. Fung Vu Dong. Tu Fan Tien Lei. Michael has also achieved the highest grade for the interdisciplinary research project for this academic year. The title of his research project was The Implications of the Going Green Trend for the Packaging Process of Dairy Products in New Zealand. One of my students. Than Lu Long. E. Giri Krishna Mata. Trinh Ly Viet Nguyen. Thanks, Joe. Tram An Phan Nguyen. Pumchai Pipatanan Mongol. Hanako Shinada. Punama Sirarathanwat. Yuto Takahashi. Hong Pham Tu Tran. Hathi Min Tran. The following students have earned their Bachelor of International Studies with a major in International Environmental Studies. Fung Min Tan Kao. Nan Za Bao Hun. The following students have their Bachelor of International Studies with a major in International Relations. Brandon Devon Dmitry Belansky. Shota Tanimoto. These students have their Bachelor of International Studies with a major in Japanese Studies. Randolph Ray Kamona Murto. Abby Lee Watt. It is with great pleasure that I award the next student a Bachelor of International Studies in Japanese Studies with distinction, Sally Yip. These final students have their Bachelor of International Studies with a major in Language Studies. Nan Trong Wen. Kenny Giovanni Watono. In addition to the candidates present here today, the following students are graduating in absentia with a Bachelor of International Studies. Lucky Kauri, Zaja Wang. Bachelor of International Studies with a major in International Business Studies. Thu Do, Quan Nguyen, Vu Nguyen, Dat Ta, Haraka Tokuda, Kwong Ta. Dr. Ohashi, that concludes the presentation for awards of Bachelor of International Studies. It is also my pleasure to award the Graduate Diploma of International Studies in absentia to Pravinsin Gohul, Sami Mohammed, Shinjin Ponambath, Shu Un Ponambat. Dr. Ohashi, that concludes the presentation for the awards of Graduate Diploma of International Studies. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. And once again, congratulations to our graduates. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Mexican Ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Jose Treslorovchev Hernandez, to give our keynote address. Your Excellency.
Professor Wayne Edwards, President of IPU, New Zealand, Dr. Setsuko Ohashi, Deputy Chairperson of the Board of Trustees, IPU New Zealand, and President of International Pacific University of Japan, Your Excellency, distinguished Ambassador from Japan, who is here with us, present, Deputy Mayor Tanguy Utikere, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and dear students. Domo arigato gozaimasu, tenakotu, tenakotu, tenakotu katoa. I am greatly honored to have the privilege of being here today to speak in front of such a distinguished audience. I appreciate the very kind invitation received from Professor Wayne Edwards, as this gives me the opportunity to express my personal views to young students willing to make a difference, starting their international careers in a very challenging moment in history, but also a time of great opportunities to make things better for the world we live in. I would like to express my earnest recognition to the IPU graduates who have successfully completed their international studies and who will be agents of change and facilitators for global communication. I would like to express my heartfelt recognition to their achievements and look forward to their further contribution to world prosperity and welfare. In what follows, I would like to make a brief recollection and reflection of major events that have led to where we are now in world affairs and how we can contribute to build a better, more prosperous, and more secure world. After a period of prolonged increased integration at the world stage, also known as globalization, this process seems to be slowing down or perhaps even coming to an end, as it is being strongly questioned by many with the risk of rolling back, leaving us instead with heightened nationalism, which have led to conflict often in the past. Integration means giving up national sovereignty in exchange of greater security, both economically and politically. Brexit and the recent US presidential election are among the better-known examples of the rejection of integration by significant parts of the population in a number of countries in the developed world. Seemingly, globalization has not produced the results that were promised and expected by all. Across nations, globalization has made more progress, in particular to developing countries such as China, that benefit from the movement of goods, services, and capital, while inequalities have increased in the developed world, where incomes have stagnated, giving rise to dissatisfaction and anger. There is a sort of a rebellion of those who perceive themselves as losers of the globalization process. This is not the first time that the world has passed through a period of reversion from increased integration to nationalistic positions, like in the first half of the 20th century, when the globalization process came abruptly to an end with the beginning of the First World War. Soon after the Second World War, there came a period of stability, institution creation, economic development, and increased integration. Under US leadership, after the Second World War, a set of institutions emerged to assist global governance and foster world peace and prosperity. The United Nations, the IMF, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, and the World Bank searched to provide economic and political governance to the world. With the support of the United States, the European Economic Community, which became afterwards the European Union, came about as an arrangement between world powers previously involved in major devastating conflicts to avoid another conflagration by means of integrating economically, politically, and geographically. The GATT and then its successor, the WTO, were created as the key instrument to integrate the rest of the world including Russia and China, and the major Western powers in Europe and the United States and Japan. A host of regional and bilateral agreements follow, sponsored under the GATT-WTO umbrella. In the beginning of the 21st century, China became a member of the WTO, followed by Russia in more recent years. In the late 1980s, the Cold War was won by the United States and its allies against the Soviet Union, whose collapse brought liberty and democracy to Eastern Europe. Development goals were set by the United Nations for the less developed nations, and the world moved forward, agreeing to mitigate and adapt to climate change brought about by human activities. This all happened under the US leadership, or at least without its outright objection. However, that leadership seems to be declining or perhaps coming to an end, as the US is seemingly and incredibly rejecting and retreating from a number of the same organizations and institutions that it helped create. The world order as we know it is being questioned by its own key supporter and mentor. On 8 November 2016, a huge political upheaval struck the United States and the whole planet when Donald John Trump became elected in the United States as its next president, by promising to reject the UN-sponsored climate change agreements, unilaterally impose sanctions on China, neglect all efforts to integrate the Asia-Pacific under US tutelage through the TPP, thus leaving the field open for China to become the pivot in the region, and pull out of the North American Free Trade Agreement. He also promised to revise strategic defense arrangements in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East, thus affecting NATO, as well as in East Asia, and announced that the US will denounce the Iran nuclear deal against the will of key strategic allies. In the process of being elected, Mr. Trump deeply divided his own country, awakening anti-globalization and xenophobic feelings, and promised to undertake strict measures to expel illegal immigrants from the United States, offering to build a wall between Mexico and the United States. No wonder why most of the world looks horrified at what is happening in the United States, except perhaps for Russia and China. Notwithstanding all of the above, we are still hopeful that the new President of the United States will not be able to implement all of what he vociferously offered to do. Recently, we have seen signs that Mr. Trump will not comply fully with a number of the promises he made during the campaign, including climate change, migration, free trade, and others. Unfortunately, he will have to pay heed somehow to the populational base which he aroused and elected him. There will be a door slamming by the US on the rest of the world, but we do not know yet the extent of such slamming, which brings lots of uncertainty to economic and political actors all around the globe. One of the main concerns about resorting to nationalism and populism to win an election and succeeding in the attempt is that it could lead to conflict, as we have seen it has happened in the past, setting aside all cooperation. To avoid conflict, greater integration should be pursued as perhaps the only means to ensure security, prosperity, and peace. We must reflect on what has gone wrong in the recent past with economic integration and globalization. There seems to be a narrow path to preserve peace, democracy, and the environment, while ensuring economic progress. It is difficult to implement the right policy mix to address and attempt to resolve the problems that afflict humanity. But allow me to indicate a few interconnected areas where I believe progress should be made to ensure a more secure and prosperous world. First, greater global integration must be pursued and continued, but it should be made more inclusive. Even though lost jobs are more the result of technological change than of international trade, in any case, much greater care should be placed to assist those who are displaced by international trade or technological change. to find new jobs through greater training or by providing a social safety network, while giving incentives for those willing to achieve more in life. This will assist in avoiding that populism and demagogy capture the political agenda, both in the developed and the developing world. 2, the benefits of globalization should be distributed in a better manner to reduce inequality. Enhanced inequality is a negative side effect to globalization, which leads to dissatisfaction and anger. This should include eliminating tax havens and pursuing better redistribution of incomes, thus improving public services like health and education. Third, a better balance between private enterprise and government intervention should be achieved. Private enterprise and competition are essential for innovation and progress to be encouraged, but at the same time, we need the intervention of government to take care of those left behind and to regulate the market to prevent the abuse of dominance by a few in detriment of the forces of competition, innovation, and progress for all. Strong governments, but slim and agile, are needed to avoid having a small group of winners at the expense of large majorities. 4, democracy and a sustainable environment must be strengthened. Democracy and the environment are very fragile entities. In pursuing our goals, it must be ensured that both are preserved. Democracy should be promoted and perfected as a means to share power and avoid conflict, while avoiding being the subject of populist assaults from either extreme of the political spectrum. The environment is the house where we live, and we should protect it. Dear ladies and gentlemen, humanity needs to achieve a better understanding and acceptance of each other's cultures and societies, and it must also be recognized that unchecked globalization can have negative byproducts, such as inequality, a compromised environment, or endangers democracies. The process of world integration requires more fine-tuning. Peace is more the exception than the rule in world history, and the planet is in great jeopardy by overpopulation, climate change, and exhaustion of natural resources. Clearly, peace and prosperity require a more balanced approach to integration. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Kiwara Rawa Atu. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez, for a very insightful address. I now call upon the Dean of the Faculty of International Studies, Dr. Gillian Claridge, to present the Postgraduate Diploma in International Studies and the Master of International Studies. Dr. Claridge.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to present the candidates for the Postgraduate Diploma of International Studies. Dinesh Kumar. Ami Prabhakar Bhagat. Priyanka Bhatti. Sajjana Dango. Taksin Gill. Devika Jayasinke. Vijay Josie Kuzivelil. Pratipan Kandasamy. Kankaraj Gayani Sheshadari Karuna Ratni. Wan Ying Li. Madati Parambil Jose. Mapa Mudian Selaj, Nandita Madumali Menika Netipola. It's wonderful. Charita Lakmal Diaz Palanda Patiraj. Bataj Dakshita Pereira. Dinelka Miranti Stephen Koralalaj. Vandana Pratik Trivedi. Haruni Wanakuati Waduj. In addition to the candidates present here today, the following students are graduating in absentia with a postgraduate diploma of international studies. Amandeep Kaur, Anupama Radhakrishnan, Chanda Sagar, Chinarani, Mandeep Kaur, Rajeshka Reddy Adudodla, Annabellen Almada with distinction, Amandeep Kaur Bula, Monica Bial, Mohammed Falik Sher, Nelosan Chandra Segaram, Bushra Asfak Chuvara, Kavita Chouan, Kavindya Tilini Dasanayaki, Dui Huan Din, Oshika Shitari Hakmana, Koditu Wakuja, Jashandeep Kaur Jasal, Harish Kamishetty, Mohammed Shabir Karyam Todi, Swati Konatam, Madhavi Koneru, Sujata Mada, Madhuri Maragoni, Chandni Mohal, Nyung Sam Nguyen, Tung Din Nguyen, Trang Thi Dai Nguyen, Mai Thi Nu Nguyen, Kwang Van Nguyen, Sachin Bhai, Bipin Bhai Panchal, Amit Kumar, Bharat Bhai Patel, Taya Batukan, Soyab Mohammed Paya, Rasan Ravi Theja Pemula, Taran Perugu, Sneha Priya Ramoju, Tisara Dhanajaya Rupa Singhe, Preeti Sharma, Sneha Himanshu Shitut, Rijan Shrishna, Upal Madhusankas Subha Singh, Devraj Subedi, AJ Kumar Vadevolu, Nan Thanit Waifong, and Ting Ting Wu. Dr. Hashi, that concludes the presentation of the award of Postgraduate Diploma of International Studies. I have great pleasure now in awarding a Master of International Studies to Paul Nathan Francis, Second Class Honours Division 2. Paul's thesis was entitled Organisational Change, a case study of the Foodstuffs New Zealand Limited Environmental Sustainability Programme. In his study, Paul explores the corporate environmental management strategy in the New Zealand supermarket industry, using Foodstuffs New Zealand Limited as a case study to gain in-depth knowledge of sustainable business practices. The research findings suggest that leadership played a vital role and showed a strong commitment towards environmental sustainability issues, ranging from energy efficiency to waste minimization. Rajib Samira Hewa Kandami Gamage, Second Class Honours Division 2.